let's switch over to your notes. We're going to look at these again. And a vertex form of a quadratic equation looks like this, okay? Y equals ax minus h squared plus k, okay? So this is what vertex form looks like, and there's various reasons that we want an equation in vertex form, and we'll kind of talk about some of those when I get back. For now, let's just get used to you identifying that a quadratic equation is in vertex form and what the different parts of this are. So one good thing about vertex form is it's really easy to identify the vertex, okay? Vertex form. So in a vertex form, the vertex is h comma k, okay? H comma k, so that's awesome. H and k, look, they're right here, they're given to us. So we can identify the vertex super quick without having to do anything else. And then it's also really easy to identify the axis of symmetry, right? The axis of symmetry is x equals h. So vertex form makes it really easy to graph a quadratic by hand, okay, like we've been doing. So let's look at these. I'll do the first one with you guys, and let's say we'll just figure out what the axis of symmetry and the vertex is. So in this equation, we're looking for the axis of symmetry, and we know that it's going to be h. What do we have here? A positive 4. When in our form, vertex form, h is negative. So since h is positive, or since it's plus 4, that actually means that the axis of symmetry is x equals negative 4. And that can be a little confusing, but it's because if we put negative 4 into that, we would get back to, if we put negative 4 back into this equation, we would get back into the form that's up here, our vertex form, okay? So x equals negative 4. And if you need to pause the video and think about why that's negative, do that real quick. Maybe ask your neighbor if you need to, okay? And then what is our vertex, okay? Well, we know our vertex, right, is negative 4. And we just talked about that. That's a really bad 4. Let me see if I can fix that. Negative 4, comma, and then k, in this case, is negative 2. And I actually covered that up, but y'all can see it on your paper. Negative 2, okay? And that would be our axis of symmetry and our vertex. And then let's look at one more together, and then I'll let you guys do it by yourself. Okay, so our vertex, we got vertex form, okay, and we're looking for our axis of symmetry. So let's see, it's whatever h is, right? So x equals, and in this case, we've got the minus part, so x is just 3, okay? And then our vertex would be h, which is 3, comma k, which we don't have a k here, right? It would be almost like saying plus 0. So k is 0. Okay, if you now got a k listed, then k is 0. And it would be the same for h. If it was x squared, it would just be 0. Okay, so look at each of these by yourself. Take this chance. Pause the video, okay, and fill in 3 and 4, and then come back when you've done 3 and 4. I've got the answers on Google Drive, or you can just check with your neighbor and make sure y'all are getting the same thing. Okay, so pause the video, and then hit play when you're ready to look at this again. Okay, so we've looked at the finding the axis of symmetry and the vertex when you're given something in vertex form. Now let's look at how we would graph an equation using vertex form, okay? So we're going to do it the same exact way we did the other one. So I'm going to do example 5 with you guys, and then you can do 6 on your own, okay? So what's our axis of symmetry? We just practiced that. X equals, we're looking for h, which in this case is negative, sorry, I'm not really sure what happened there. In this case is negative 2. So x equals negative 2. And then we're looking for our vertex, which would be hk, so that'd be negative 2. I'm sorry, guys. I'm struggling to use my equipment. Negative 2, comma, and then this is 7, right? So negative 2, comma 7. 7, okay? And so now, remember if we go back to how we graphed our parabolas yesterday, or our quadratics yesterday, we write the vertex in the middle, -2, 7, and then I went ahead and graphed right the axis of symmetry, so the axis of symmetry would be -2, which is about right here, and then our vertex, -2, +7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so there, and then we graph points on either side of it, right? So let's go up to negative, or down to -3, and if we plug that in, again, you can pause the video if you need to, -3, 6, -4, 3, and you just plug it in your calculator, plug x in, and that was how we're going to get y, okay? And then do the same thing down here, -1 gives us 6, and 0 gives us 3. Let's use green to graph it. We got 0, 3, 1, 2, 3, then 1, 6, then -3, 6, and then once we've got all our points plotted, we make the line as smooth as possible. And there's our graph. Now, what's our domain? We got, it can be any x, right? So, element of the real number system. And then, what is our range? Well, y up here, it starts at +7 and then goes down. So y is less than or equal to 7. So let's go ahead and take this chance, pause the video, and then try number 6 on your own. And then when you're done, come with that, and we'll fill in the next part and get it going. Actually, let's just I'll stop this video, and then you can watch the next video to finish this up. Okay. Okay, guys, so we got day 3, right, working on quadratics, and let's think about what we've learned so far. Okay, so we talked about writing a quadratic in standard form, right, so by equals ax squared plus bx plus c, right. We talked about how using this form, our equation for our axis of symmetry is -b/2a, and then we can plug that in back into the formula for x, and that gives us our vertex, right? Vertex. And then yesterday we took a look at actually graphing some of these by hand, right? And graphing them by hand, determining their domain and range, and then we also looked at working these kind of like looking at a graph. Can we use that graph to identify the equation that matches it? And we can. So that's really cool. So today we're going to move on. There's going to be different forms that we have to see, that we have to be able to write quadratics in. So this is standard form, okay? This one we're looking at right now, if you've forgotten, it is called standard form. So I'm going to write that down here. Standard form, okay? And then what we're going to talk about today is called vertex form, okay? Vertex form. And so we're going to start kind of going back and forth between these once we've identified them all. Okay, so this is we've talked about standard form, right? And now we're going to talk about vertex.